Okay, so my name is Sharad Khare. I'm a digital journalist, a digital storyteller, a moderator. I work in the digital culture and the translation of interpretation through editing and moderation. Oh, and I was quicker than the slide would go. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my career and how my passion is actually my career, and it's not a real job, but it's become one. So my first client was Microsoft. Back a long time ago when I used to record myself doing podcasts, Microsoft saw my work and they had created some PDFs on their website that nobody was watching. So they said, Sharad, what could we do? And I said, let's make some videos. So I taped myself shooting videos for Microsoft, telling stories, and I'm on some of Microsoft's videos. My company, it's created by me and my wife. It's because she's the only one that really believed in me at the very beginning, and so she's my support system. And we create media journalism, corporate legacy videos, and we speak and we're moderators around the world. And when I say around the world, that dream happened for me in the last 2 years, and we'll talk more about that. That's my wife, my rock. So my wife and I look at how people communicate with each other. So we use our own talents from digital recording to speaking to how people just move around and capture those on video. This is me talking about my passion. So I believe that you can actually do what you love and make money at it. And I did that at a very early age in my life. And I believe that interviewing people about their lives and asking them big questions about themselves is actually the way to make people happy about their own stories. So I have been traveling around the world to capture a lot of people's legacies. So my work in legacy, I will live with the family for 1 or 2 or 3 days or a week, and I will interview members of the family, and those interviews get turned into a documentary and they stay with the family as their legacy. And I've been doing that with some very prominent people around the world. I believe in diversity through my work. I started to look at how people speak about their work. I was a few weeks ago, actually a few months ago, I was with at Harvard, and I was interviewing people there. And Stephen Koffer, the CEO of TripAdvisor, was telling me about his life, and he said, you know, if I didn't want to travel more, I couldn't start this company. So those are some of the stories. Ariana Huffington, a mentor and friend, she taught me how to distribute my content. So if you have a message and how to send it out, you can do that in the digital realm. And she actually gave me my own video blog on the Huffington Post after I interviewed her. I've been humbled enough to document the Dalai Lama. Imagine an intense feeling of a holy man like this walking around a room with you, and you're just walking around with the camera, and he holds your hand. The translation of history and warmth and love has never been so prominent in my life, so that's somebody that I was fortunate enough to capture. I document things. I document people and their work. 2 men from Musqueam, I followed them and their work, working on a project with the Vancouver Police Department. The interpretation was Indigenous community working with policing communities, and I directed that documentary. Well, I said it faster than I thought. In Richmond here, for the City of Richmond and Emily Carr University, I was brought on board and commissioned to direct their documentary on public art practice on public land and development land. And I feel that if you look up in the sky, or you look down at the ground, you're actually going to see a lot more public art than you would have ever thought. And Richmond has been a great place for me to capture some of those views. This is me. A week ago, I was moderating at the United Nations, and my work has taken me to live moderation. I took my master's, and in my master's course, somebody said, hey, instead of doing this digital stuff, why don't you do something that's live, unscripted, and unedited? So I started interviewing and documenting people live in live audiences. Prince Charles has a trust called the British Asian Trust, and when I was in Europe recently, I was invited to the British Automobile Club to interview the head of that trust. And what I was trying to do was capture a story that the world really doesn't know. They know about the royal family and their, I guess, maybe more funny or interesting things that are social, but not enough about them. I was in New York, as mentioned. I was at the United Nations, and because I was there, they knew that I did this legacy work. So the grandkids of the Rockefellers, the Kennedys, and the Hiltons were there, and I got to interview them and capture them on film and document their lives. This is me on stage at TEDx, again, leading dialogue. This is Chip Wilson, the owner of Lululemon. And I believe that if you can represent somebody and honor them in a way that they can tell their truth in front of an audience, that that communication, that translation becomes bigger than you and everyone else that's watching. This is Tim Draper. So I talk about big ideas, and he's the funder of Tesla and SpaceX. And I was with him in San Francisco a few weeks ago documenting his life. And the idea that you can drive a car that doesn't have an engine or you can fly to the moon is something that comes out of books until you meet the person that actually can say, no, you can do it. So he's somebody who really pushed me. Surround yourself with good people who actually tell stories as well, and this is just a montage of that. There's Jack Welsh on the bottom, Susie, cut that off. But these are just some of the people that have inspired me to keep doing what I do, because it's not a real job. It's something that I made up as I went along. This is me with Dr. Ron Burnett and Nigel Lockyer. Dr. Burnett is the president of Emily Carr University, and Nigel Lockyer is the director of the Fermi Lab in Chicago. Two opposite men, and it was my first dialogue that I ever moderated, taking two men from different realms, and we debated and documented and talked about art and science. Spread your work, spread your passion, tell people what you want to do, say it out loud. I feel very lucky that I got to be here on stage. The intelligent people that came before me, I'm very humbled to be here, but talk about your stories and tell people what you do, and more people will be interested. I distribute all my content online, and you can probably see it. Live your passion. I challenge everyone in here to do something that you wouldn't be paid for, and would you still love it? You know, like, what if your passion was your net worth, right? That's what I'll ask everybody, leave everybody today. So if one day you're hanging out with your friends or family, think of a question you want to ask, pass a camera around, and then see the answers, and then ask that same question the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and see what comes out. And that's my passion, to tell other people's stories. I hope that wasn't too quick. Thank you very much.